Previously on Beat the Press Podcast.
Man, and I only let that type of music play when I have very special guests on because I'm a diehard LSU Tiger. You know, I had the privilege of having Derrick Brooks on. I played him the song. You know, I had Deion Sanders on. I played him their song. And now I have my former offensive coordinator, now head coach of the Florida State Seminoles, Coach Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo, welcome to the show, baby. How are you?
Great to be with you, Mike. It's an honor, buddy.
Hey, man. We got a lot of history together, Jimbo. And, you know, starting off, when I got to LSU, I'll never forget you coming into my high school basketball games. And those were great moments for me because every time I saw you walk through the building, I knew I had to show out. And we had such a great time seeing you, man. Talk about those times back in the day.
It really was. That day when we first got down there and we're trying to resurrect the LSU program, and, you know, it had been 3-8, 2-9, and you and a guy named Marcus Spears were critical to our class in that one huge signing class, and getting you guys to be able to be, you know, consider LSU and not leave the state like many guys, and then being able to go watch those games and fun. I loved watching because, believe it or not, Michael was a good basketball player, folks, really good basketball player. And by the way, he's probably the best safety I ever saw. He was actually as good a safety or better safety than he was receiver. He was physical. But just watching him compete, I think that's the thing I remember about you the most, Mike, is your competitive nature and your ability to want to win. And that class, to me, was what changed LSU. Your class coming in, and we were able to win some games and eventually win the SEC and win the national championship. To me, that's what started LSU on that run.
Well, Coach, you've had a host of quarterbacks. You the number one draft pick in Jamarcus Russell. Matt Flynn goes out to make a name for himself in the National Football League. B.J. Manuel goes out and he does a tremendous job. And now you have this kid, Winston, who and when I came down, you didn't really know who was going to be your starting quarterback because the two quarterbacks were competing, and yet you chose Winston, and this guy goes out and wins the Heisman. How does that feel to know that you're so in touch in developing these quarterbacks to give them an opportunity to maximize their full potential?
Well, I mean, that's something we've evolved over time and knowing what to look for and the type of characteristics, and very blessed. I mean, first of all, you give credit to the player. No coach, you have to have talent and ability to be coached to that level, and he definitely does. But the thing about him that separates him, Mike, is so unique is his intelligence, his ability to process information, make decisions, and then he has that same spirit that you had. I mean, he's going to find a way to win the game. I mean, he refuses to lose. He's fun to coach. You know, we've been blessed with Christian Ponder we had here, E.J. Manuel, all those guys are first-round guys, and he's carrying on that legacy. But I think he's taking that just to a little bit different level, and he is so fun to coach because I'm going to tell you something. He does not forget it. He can retain so much information, and it's fun to coach a guy like that.
I'm glad you bring up your quarterback because there's been some talk recently about the lack of senior leadership, and I'm seeing one of your quotes there. You made a good point. There shouldn't be any age that you put onto leadership. A leader's a leader. Can you talk a little bit about the leadership qualities that your quarterback has?
It's natural. He has I always measure quarterbacks, too, when they walk in the room, what kind of presence do they have? And that's very critical. And it's not arrogance, it's confidence, and he has it. And it's natural for him to bring it out. The guys naturally look to him. They did last year as a freshman. And, you know, it's just a natural. You can develop leaders to a point. A lot of people believe it. I believe a lot of leadership is born, and it's ingrained in you when you're little and how you handle pressure and how you handle situations and those types of things. And he has done it naturally his whole life. And, you know, he is a true impact. And we have another young freshman, a guy named Jalen Ramsey. We have a bunch of other freshmen. We have another young freshman, Jalen Ramsey, the DB, who's started from the day he got here last year, that has that same kind of presence on defense for a young guy.
Yeah, that's the thing with when I look at Florida State, obviously you have your offense, which is top shelf, but looking at the defense, especially the defensive backfield, I mean, Florida State has become a factory. And you had the leader in LaMarcus Joyner, who I got the opportunity to talk to at the Combine, and he's a guy that's small in stature but huge in presence, and I like that. Can you talk a little bit about how he was able to be the heart and soul of that defense? And then I also want to talk a little bit about your junior corner, P.J. Williams.
Yes. DeMarcus is natural to it. I mean, we had him and Telvin Smith on defense was by far our leadership, our middle linebacker. But LaMarcus is the guy, and I mean this wholeheartedly. If you practice for 3 hours, and you said, Coach, which you can't do anymore because of the 20-hour rule, back in the old day when we did, that practice was awful. We're doing it again. He'd walk up and give you a kiss. I mean, he loved to play ball. He never got tired. He couldn't turn off being competitive. We had so many guys on that team who were truly competitive and physical, and his attitude, his persona, his work ethic in the weight room, off field. I mean, he loved everything about football, not just playing it on the field, lifting, running, and it was just infectious. If you were around him, you were going to play hard, you were going to play tough, and you were going to do the right thing. He would not allow you not to do that. Marcus is one of the true greats in Florida State history.
Coach, we've got a long history together. Won a lot of football games. We both had the pleasure of working under Coach Nick Saban. Now, out of my staff, I was once priding myself because you had Derek Dooley go on to be the coach at Tennessee. You Muschamp at Florida, you at Florida State. And out of all of those coaches, you come up with a national championship. How much did you take away from being under Coach Saban and being under his program? Did you take anything to Florida State, or did you just kind of create your own dynasty within your knowledge?
Well, I think you take something from everybody you're around. Nick was a master to me of organization, structure, and developing guys off the field and putting programs in place. Now, we've tweaked and turned and a lot of that, but a lot of the philosophies and beliefs I had came from that when we structured that at LSU. And the mental conditioning, the sports psychologist guy. I mean, all kinds of things that were little tweaks, how we did meals, how we did, we've changed, and he and I are still very similar, but we've tweaked and turned. You got to take things and put them in your own perspective, and because you can't emulate somebody, you have to be yourself. But I learned a tremendous amount from him. He and I are still very good friends. I learned a lot from Coach Bowden. There was a lot of things I took from him also, and I think combining those two things and then doing things my way. What I learned from both of those guys was this: people don't follow people who are fake and are trying to emulate somebody else. You got to be yourself. You have to have the ability to make your own decisions, do your own things, but you learn from everybody you're around. And I was just blessed to be around some great people. And a lot of the things we do here are still what we do at from LSU that we did back then. A lot of the infrastructure, just like this is bringing you in to speak to us. Came in and you spoke to our team and was a motivational speaker to them and told them the things they had to do and how to think. And that was a big. I had never done tons of just little bits of things, but we structured so many things like that, and those are all contributing factors to the success in creating the culture that we call a championship culture.
Well, when you talk about that culture, I gotta pat our 2003 team on the back too, Coach. You mentioned to me a few times that you had to bring out the tape a few times and show the guys the mentality of which we played back in the day. You called me and told me about this kid, Kelvin Benjamin, that you kind of wanted me to help bring the dog out of him because he had a talent and ability to be great. And when I first saw this kid, I saw him catching balls at his ankles at 6'5", going down there, plucking the ball. That says a lot about a kid's hands and his ability to be a receiver. What do you see in Kelvin Benjamin this year going into this draft and how he lines up with the other receiver prospects that are in the draft this year?
See, I in my board, and I'm not prejudiced because I coach him, and I look at players like this. Can one player do what the other player does? He can do what everybody in the draft does. Sammy is very special, too, because he's such a great punt returner and things. But Kelvin, actually, when you go catching punts and things and running, he's the best on our team if you want to go back. We give him speed sweeps. And there's some special guys. But Kelvin, to me, brings a skill set that he can run routes and play at 5'10", 180, run all your change of direction routes, your jig routes inside, your whips, your angles, all those. But then he can also run the speed out. And he loves the digs, the target, the catch radius, the great vertical, the ball skills. And he dropped a few balls last year, but if you look, it's always trying to do something too quick. It's a little bit of, not immaturity, just he needs to just relax a little bit. But I think he can be the most dominant guy in the draft. Now, people say, well, you coaching? And go work the guy out and watch him run routes, in which I have. I think he's one of those guys that's a nightmare. How do you cover him? When you cover him, you can't cover him. You cover him one-on-one, he's going to catch a football because he can flat run. I know he ran 4.6, but in our jersey, when he plays football and carries his pads, he's as fast as anybody out there. And I think has a special skill set that some people are going to regret. Just like if they let Moss drop to 22, people are going to regret when they have to play against him, in my opinion.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Now, we know that there's a lot of key components into winning a national championship, Coach, and without a doubt, I was all in your corner this year, just having the opportunity to spend with you. Sometimes in the past, you go through these ups and downs. What was this feeling? Did you feel that y'all were, capable of winning a national championship, or did it just you continue to pound the rock game by game and it just happens? What was that feeling after you win that national championship?
It was kind of both. I really liked the dynamic of this team. I liked its attitude, its culture, its work ethic, its toughness. It had the intangibles because it was selfless. We had that saying, play don't care who makes it. They didn't care. They were just so somebody made it. And they were happy for the next guy. This team was selfless. It sacrificed for each other. And when you're in that, it's a true family environment. And when you're in it, you get that feeling. Now, that had to go out and execute. And we had to take it game by game. But they did. They took it game by game. Our opponent, they didn't care who we played. We said our opponent was faceless. And that's the way they looked at it. They just came to play their game. And then you just felt that momentum. I really did. I mean, even maybe more so than the one we won in 2003, that this team just kept going and going and going. And they did it right off the bat. It was really a unique experience. And winning it was just, you go back and you think of all the sweat, the tears, the dream, and you as the head coach having to make the right decisions. It's so many critical little things that no one knows. How hard you work the team, how you practice them, how much you cut back, how much film study here, things that you always got to put them in a position to be successful. And as a coach, you always hate because any little tweak or turn can cause you not to win one. That's why they're so hard. And, we were able to make the right decisions. They believed in us. There was a tremendous trust back and forth, coach to player, player to coach. And it was truly a great feeling, especially the way we run it, because we dominated. Everybody scored the most points in NCAA. No team in NCAA history scored more points than we did, ever. And we had the number one scoring defense. We threw 42 touchdowns, ran 40. We could run, we could throw. They said, but you can't win a close game. You can't beat the SEC in a physical game, a tough game. And then when they did that, to me, this team completed, to me, and did everything that you ever asked a team to be, and it was a tremendous group of guys to coach.
So looking at how prolific that offense was last year, obviously we have Kelvin Benjamin who is going to move on, but you still got a pretty dynamic guy in Rashad Green. Can you talk a little bit about him and any of the other receivers that you project to step up this year?
Yeah, Rashad had a chance to have a great year. He can be the all-time leader in catches, yards, and touchdowns in Florida State history. There's been some great ones that have played here. Rashad is a very special guy. He can go in the slot. He can go outside. He has tremendous speed. He can beat you. He's a reverse guy. He's a screen. You can get it to him in so many ways. I think he's going to be one of the great players in college football. We'll move him around and feature him. But we have other guys. There's a Christian Green from down in the Tampa area had a chance to really step up. Who and Scooter Hagen's come back as fifth-year seniors. Then you have some young guys. Kermit Whitfield, who kickoff back and led the country in kickoff returns last year as a true freshman, as a 10-2 100-meter guy, one of the world-class sprinters, is really evolving himself. Michael, remember this. He's a lot like Skylar Green, except I think, Mike, he has a lot more receiver capabilities and better ball skills. And he's maybe more dynamic with the ball. Skylar was a guy playing on our national championship team that was really electric with the ball. And then Bobo Wilson has a chance to be a very special guy in Isaiah Jones. We have a good group coming. We just have to develop it. But the thing people don't forget, we got a great tight end in Nick O'Leary, who was one of the top tight ends. So we're going to be able to get the ball and throw the ball, but we're still going to be able to run it and keep great balance.
All right, Coach, before I let you go, man, and it's always a pleasure to have you on. I know that there's a lot of intricate things that play a part in a team's success. And I know that this year was a very special year for you because your son and everything that he's going through, when I got a chance to talk to the guys, they wanted to win for you. And they just had so much respect for how you carried yourself as a head coach and battling the things some of your sons went through. What was his face? I kind of get teary-eyed thinking because I know I was praying so hard so you can have this moment for him. How excited was he when they got to crown you champion?
He both of my sons, Trey is with me 24/7, and my little one, Ethan, is the one who has the disease. And they live, eat, and breathe, as a coach's son, every play. And forget it, he didn't I'll tell you a little story. He's at the championship game, and he could not find his lucky hat, the hat he wore to every game before we went. He didn't get to bring it.
Oh,
and he's in the stands, and we're losing, and they said he broke down and was crying and saying it was all his fault because he did not bring his lucky hat.
Oh, man.
And then for us to come back, and they're rewarding him, and us to come back and do it. You know, your family lives every second of that. And they're part of our team. They're team members. And our players, KD is the one who takes him and sits in the chair with him, and he rides, Trey and Jameis have that special handshake, and they got a great bond. They hang together all the time. Well, KD was the one who kind of adopted Ethan. He took him on the trips. He carried him with him. He sat in the bus with him. Ethan wears his number 1. It's on his iPad. That's a picture of KB on it. You know what I mean? So they're ingrained in our team wholeheartedly. They love it. They look at those guys like they're their own brothers and extended family, and our players appreciate it tremendously. And he was so happy. He's watching him hug and seeing his eyes up on the stage, and he kiss you like you say. God works in funny ways sometimes.
He does, man. He puts you in front of some great people. And, Coach, as you mean the world to me. I have to also thank you for endorsing the back of my book with your encouraging words. My new book, Chasing My Rookie Years, for you guys. But I know that you were blessed to have a great team at LSU, and it makes me proud to know that just as we went to war for you, those guys at Florida State are going to bat for you, man. And so it's just a great feeling to watch you from afar. Coach, you continue to inspire me, baby, and I appreciate you being my friend.
You too, Mike, and make sure you tell your mom and dad I said hello. Like I said, you're the one I compare them all to. They're the one I teach from, and you've always been tremendous in helping me get my career, and we're always great friends, and anything I can ever do, you just let me know. And it was an honor to coach you, buddy. Thank you for having me.